Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Dino. That's Patchy's Repair Shop. This is my Ducati. Lots of you have seen it before. Today we're going to do the Cambelts, and we're going to take the tank off, which is the whole top piece here, because they have this really fun feature. That's the only way you can get to the air filter. Fine, it's like that on lots of bikes. You have to pop the seat, pop the tank. Tank's usually got a hinge. It's usually a 10-minute job. This isn't going to be a 10-minute job, is it? So stick around, guys. Let's see how I get on. Cambelts, air filter today. Let's crack on, shall we? For anyone who's here just for the Cambelt element, I am going to whip the tank off first. You do not need to do that if you're only doing the Cambelts. Just that I thought I would take the tank off, then do the Cambelts and give everything a bit of a clean. So first thing I'm going to do, pop the pillion seat off. That's done with a key. Need to get some stuff out of here. I always keep the socket for the rear wheel under here, just in case you arrive somewhere and they haven't got a 46, isn't it? 46mm socket. So I always keep one of them in there. Beautiful. Right, seat off. Next step will be the luggage carrier and these side plastics here. And these need, there's a bit of alley corrosion in here, so they need a bit of cleaning out anyway. So do all that at the same time. Whole week's gone past since we filmed that little 1-minute intro there, guys, where we took the seat off and everything. Needed a little break. I'll tell you what, I think it's one thing that I didn't realise about YouTube, and it's obvious when you think about it. If you want to get a video out once a week, and it's the niche that I'm in, which is either in the little garage or working on my motorbikes, mainly working on the motorbikes, it's actually quite tough to get a video out once a week. Right, today we're going to have a look at the air filter and change the cam belts, as you know. And it will take me longer to edit the video than it will to do the actual job. And it doesn't matter how big or small the channel is, if you're getting them out once a week, you've still got to get it done. Yeah, crud in these ones. Well done me, I greased them up by the looks of it. So if you don't have the top box on these, you just have a little grab handle here which only attaches to this part here. I still have that for this bike, so everything that this bike has that it didn't have from the showroom, if that makes sense, I still have. There we go. Right, under that rack, we got some little 4mm Allen keys. So these side pieces have got to come off because they're over the top of the tank, which is this piece here. Try and get some better shots in a minute because everything's very red. Probably all looks the same on the camera. And then round the back here, we've got a couple more 4mm Allen keys, little black panel with Ducati written in it. That'll take that panel off. We'll get rid of that panel. We don't want to get rid of that panel. It's been absolutely scorching in the UK. Really humid last night and this morning. I'm not doing the British thing and moaning about it. I'm just saying it's been a bit warm. Right, then this bit looks like it comes off first, and then this, there we go, that pulls backwards. One off, happy days. This one's second because they sort of fit on top of each other. Ugh, we're grubby, so this does give us a good opportunity to give everything good wash down as well, doesn't it? Right, so this is the key lock for undoing the seat, and then there's a cable that goes round there, comes out here, and then you've got the latch here, but we need to get this cable out of here, quite simple, but you need to open up very, very gently. Needs a touch more. Only want to do as much as is needed. There we go. And that will pop the cable out, and that can come off with the tank then. Now we're going to have to take the side panels off as well. This side is quite simply a key, and mine has the, what I'm told, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, the optional extra cargo net fitted inside. I've still got the Ducati toolkit in there. So we need to get this off, which looks like a series of 4mm Allen key bolts. There's a 4mm Allen key. I'm just going through the cargo net. Can get that one. And then up here in the top corner, there's another one. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see that. There's the 8mm bolt that I mentioned is just there. Just there, guys. Can you see that 8mm bolt? Excuse me, hay fever. Almost feels like there's a nut on the back of it though. Let me see if I can undo it. Right, it was a nut that was spinning, but not a nut that should have been spinning. It was an insert in there. Someone's obviously, I don't know, over tightened it. Is that a bit of glue or something maybe? Probably been off before, isn't it? You know, it's 2007, so it's nice and old now. What is it? How old is it? Old enough. Right, so that's a big shame. We have to maybe do a little local repair there to get that back in. But the side panel's off, and we can see this part exposed now. You can actually see the bottom of the airbox down there. So let's see what else is holding this in. Right, I've just got some epoxy resin on that broken panel with some clamps to get that captive back in there. This panel's easier-ish, I suppose, because it's just the one that has got the battery behind it. And I really hope all the battery and everything can stay in place, and it's just this panel here. That's what we're kind of hoping anyway. Let's have a look, shall we? Got one plug here, which looks like some kind of ambient air temperature. Let's pop that off. Scrabbling around on the gravel driveway, Steve, just for you, mate. I know it pleases you. And I promise you it won't be like this forever. All right, let's get the 4mm out here. Once you've got this 4mm out, that should, the little front panel on top will probably pop out in a minute as well. And we've got the same 8mm that we had on the other side. And these ones luckily are okay, I think. Well, certainly the top one on this side that was broken on the other side, I took that one out to find out what was wrong with the one on the other side, if that makes sense. So there's two sort of awkward 8mm head bolts, M5 bolts I think they are, or they're an M6 with a 8mm head. Too awkward to film. Fairly obvious to see when you're in front of the bike. Yeah, they're an M6 with a 8mm head. And then that should pop off of there, along with the front panel. So there's the front panel. And then that has got all the fuse box on it. And I'm going to leave that dangling. It'll be something to do with the data tool alarm, I would say. So the only reason we're taking those front panels off is because they're clipped in here. So they have to come off because we need to get the panel off of these clips because this is obviously part of the tank. Right, so once those side panels are off, guys, from the front of the bike, so the camera is at an awkward position just by the headstock. And if you look up, you'll see one 5mm Allen key there, and you've got the same on the other side. They're going through and into the tank. So a long Allen key here is your friend, and I'm going to have to move you guys. I'm sorry, so that I can get it undone. Now it's out. You can see it's a very distinctive bolt. It's got a big shoulder and then a M6 end on it. And it's a 5mm Allen key, and it basically goes there. Okay, just slightly higher. Right, at the back here, guys, just behind the rear silencers, above the rear hugger, which is just there, we've got a 5mm Allen key. Right, now we're starting to get a bit looser. Around here, guys, we've got the plug for the fuel pump, which cable tied around the frame, so we can get rid of that and undo. It might not have been the plug for the fuel pump. No, looks like you've got to take the cover off. Right, underneath the fuel tank at the back is this black plastic cover that has got some very manky looking 8mm nuts that all look like they might break. And the first one certainly felt like it might break. This back one's coming undone. You guys might not be able to see from where you are, but there's actually a bolt as well right underneath the exhaust on this side, which requires a spanner. Can't get a socket in there with the exhaust in there. That one's come undone. Right, this one that wants to cause us a headache, let's get a little wire brush on it. And a squirty squirt. Can't really blame it, can you? It's been rehomed in a position where it's constantly getting muck. Oh, I didn't like that didn't feel good. Oh, okay. We might. Are we okay? Oh, it's pulling the stud out instead of the nut. Okay, we can. Nothing snapped, so that we can deal with. And there you can see that panel. On the other side, we was looking at that stud, and we undone the nut on the bottom, and it's an adjuster. Look, it's just a rubber seat. See that? So you can just get the lines of the tank and the frame correct. And there's another two at the sort of in the middle of the tank here that I can see and you guys can't. I don't think there is much else holding it on. It's just heavy because some bright spark for probably the first time ever in the family name. There will definitely be people watching this who know what I mean. Has arrived home with nearly a full tank. Let me tell you, that never happens. I'm a coast home on fumes kind of guy. Makes the journey more exciting. So these clips, this is definitely Apache's top tip. I've had loads of experience with these over the years. You want to make sure that when it's fitted in place, I always give it a little spray with some lube like WD-40 or whatever you can have in your country. Let's not get into who can have WD-40 where. That's a whole separate video. Give it a move when it's in place, you know, give it a little spin, give it a little push up and down before you even try to attempt to release it. Now on the side here, there's some little grips. And what you need to do is push this together. These two clips will splay out and then pull it down. Okay, it is as simple as that, but they can be a real bugger sometimes. Okay, and I usually use these. So I use these to very gently push the outside bit, and then I'll use a pair of these to sort of grab the union itself and gently pull it down at the same time. That generally works for me, okay? But I have done quite a few of them. Right, then we lifted the tank up and off. It locates, let's show you guys. It locates into these rubber bungs here. Okay, so just lifted it up and pulled it back, and that's it. And now we can see the airbox and we can give everything a bit of a clean and do the Cambelts. Let's not forget we've got to do the Cambelts. Right, all of that was just to access the airbox, unfortunately. So let's pop these clips off. And I already know that this has got a K&N in it. Pop the airbox lid off because I want to give it a wash. So one K&N filter. So I'm just going to give that a wash out and blow it out with the airline, and we can pop that back in. Not a big fan of K&N filters. Manufacturers put a lot of R&D into airboxes and air filters, and who are we to say that we can do it any better? But hey ho, it's got one. It's had one since I purchased the bike, so let's give that a clean out and a blowout, and then we can put that back in. Right, so we checked these before we went off to the Isle of Man TT, and they were okay, but the Ducati is one of the two bikes that are unfortunately leaving us. They're going to be sold, so this is one of them. So we've done the oil and filter, and I just want to make sure the belts are done. It's usually the first question that comes out of a person's mouth is, have the belts been done? And I want that answer to be yes. And ultimately, I would say, and please put in the comments if you disagree, that this is probably one of the easiest Ducatis to do the belts on. So it's really not the end of the world. So we've got a series of 5mm Allen keys. One of the carbon fibre tabs is broken up here, which is a shame. Been like it ever since I've owned it over the last 5 years. So covers out. And as I said at the beginning of the video, guys, if you are just doing the cam belts, you don't need to take the tank off. I've only done that so that I can clean the air filter out and give everything a bit of a wash out, make sure everything's okay. So to turn the engine over on these guys, you need to come round to the other side of the engine, undo these two 4mm countersunk bolts here, and pop this little plate off. And inside here, guys, if you can see it, there is a little, I don't think you guys can see it, we've got a little drive cut out, like a keyway cut out in the end of this shaft here. Okay, and what this does is it allows me to use this special tool, which those two opposite ends are going to fit in the shaft like that, and then we've got a little Allen key bolt in the middle, 6mm. So we'll just nip that up, and that means we can get a socket, spanner, whatever you've got on the end of there, and we can turn the engine over. But before we do that, I recommend taking the spark plugs out to make your life a little bit easier. So while we're whipping these spark plugs out, probably a good time to say about getting that tank off. Now, me filming it all and turning it into something for a video on the camera always makes it more long-winded than what it actually is. I reckon if you had all the tools and nothing breaks, we had one captive spinning, I reckon I could probably have that tank off in half an hour. So that gives you a rough idea, guys. If you're replacing or cleaning out your air filter, I reckon about half an hour you'd have the job done. So you just see me take the spark plugs out. They do actually fit through the center of the cam belt on this side of this engine. Right, guys, so I'm going to turn it over from this side with the special tool, which you can put a 17mm spanner on. You want to turn it clockwise from this side. Okay, so it needs to be turning clockwise this side. We've got a mark down here on this casing, which I'll show you in a minute when I've got it lined up. And we got a couple of marks on the cylinder head. We've got a mark here, and we get a pointy thing. We've got a mark here and a mark on the pulley. That's my crankshaft pulley. And then up the top here, I've got a little line on the cylinder, which is just there. So that lines up with our mark here. And then we've got the same on the front cylinder. We've got a mark there, little raised edge on the cylinder, and that lines up with our mark there. It really is as simple as that, guys, okay? So now I've done that, I can slacken off my tensioners. Cool, that was a bit tight. So I can slacken my tensioner off and pop the first belt off. Now, if you are doing an engine job and you've got new belts that are already fitted, it's best to mark the direction of rotation. I would just always go for another set of belts, no matter how long they've been on there. That's just me. But if you're going to reuse them for whatever reason, mark the direction of rotation. And on a cam belt, never do that. Oh, how cracked is it? If you're going to throw it in the bin, fine, do it. Have a look if you really want to. You just don't want to be doing that, okay? So actually, if you look at that, if you guys can see it, they're probably due for a change. They're still nice and rubbery and supple though. And I'm changing these because of age, not because of mileage. So every vehicle that has cam belts will have a service interval for the belts that is mileage and time related, or time related, I should say, whichever occurs first. And in this case, it's time. Now, I changed the tensioners on these last time I done the belts. I feel like it's good practice. I'm not going to do it again because they haven't done a lot of mileage, but they do need a bit of a clean up. So that's second belt off. And I think another big tip with cam belts, guys, is as long as it goes back on in the same place it came off, you're going to be okay. You know, if you've got a twin cam, maybe on a car, something like that. I'm not going to go into the Desmo valve setup on a Ducati. That's probably a whole other rabbit hole that we can go down at another time. But if you've got a car and the valve's on the rock of the cam and you take the belt off and then a inlet or exhaust cam moves around a little bit because it's just on that point where it can, if that makes sense, then obviously you need to be a little bit careful that you've got special tools in place and stuff like that. But 9 times out of 10, you know, do a little bit of research, and as long as it goes back on where it came off, then you're going to be okay. Some more modern engines that were running or are running the Miller cycle, they can have a slightly more complex way to time the valves up. Sometimes you need a diag machine. I know you do for one of the Ducatis. I'm not saying that that particular model of Ducati or that Ducati, whatever one it is that you need the diag tools for, I'm not saying that has the Miller cycle, by the way. Right, I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning and then bring you guys back in. We'll put the new belts on. Right, so I've had a bit of a clean up of the rollers and the bolts, so we can pop these back in now. I say rollers, these are the adjusters, yeah? Tensioners, sorry. That's the word I'm looking for, isn't it? So without doing any nasty bending of the belts, like we said earlier, always check the new one against the old one. That way we know. These are a Dayco. There's the number of the belt if you need to get any, but I'll link them in the description below. I've always used Dayco, cars, bikes, this bike, and never ever had a problem. So I'm happy to continue to use them. If the belt has a direction of rotation, an arrow telling you what way it wants to be spinning, make sure you put it that way. So let's pop the belt over the bottom pulley first. A little bit tight going over. There we go. Ideally, you want the slack side of the belt to be on the same side as the tensioner. So in our case, let me move you forward. Might be easier to show you on the bottom belt. Yeah, so we've got it on this side. The slack is on the same side as the tensioner. The teeth are located into the pulleys correctly. So we can tension that one up. But what I would like to do first is just get that bottom belt on. Right, so got our slack side here. Next thing we've got to do is tension these belts up. Now, this is often seen as a bit of a dark art, especially on Ducatis. Let me show you how I do it, and I'm sure you guys can pop your opinions or tell me how you do it in the comments. Right, very naughty of me, something I forgot to point out to you earlier, guys. If you remove this bung here, 6mm Allen key, you got a hole here. I can't film it, you can't see it inside. There's a little indicator in there. And when I can see that indicator inside the hole, it's a little line, I know that the engine is on TDC on that front cylinder, okay? Now, I'm not going to go down the whole rabbit hole of whether that matters when I'm changing the belts. That's probably for another video when we're maybe doing something else, I don't know. But it does matter when I'm tensioning the belt, sort of. At least one point in time, it's got to be in that position for me to tension that front belt. That is the words that I'm trying to tell you guys, okay? So I am on TDC on that front cylinder, so I know that I can tension that front belt now, okay? Now, this is more of a Ducati thing than any other bike because of the Desmo valve gear and the way that the valve is held shut during the starting process so that the valve seats don't leak. But again, let's not go down that whole rabbit hole, shall we? So we're on TDC on that front cylinder. We can time that front belt up. So let me get some tension on here. So I've got some tension on there, just nip that up. Seems a bit loose. This is how I do it. I use the Gates Carbon Drive app on my phone and I measure the hertz that is recorded when I flick the timing belt, okay? And again, there is hertz measurements for lots of vehicles and sort of bicycles and electric bikes now, yuck, that use a rubber drive belt. Again, let's not go into that. I'll pop a little screen recording on the screen now so that so this one's tensioned. Okay, now what we've got to do is to do the next one, we're going to turn it 90 degrees. That will put the rear cylinder on TDC. Let's position you. So rear cylinder being here, that will put that on 90 degrees, and then we will check the tension here in the same way. Got a bit of the frame sort of lattice here, which makes it a little bit harder to film and try and flick the belt and measure it as well. It's not the easiest thing to do, I don't think, anyway, when you're doing it without recording it. But okay, let me do that and then bring you guys back in. Right, that's the belt's tension, guys. We've got them to 104 hertz. I think 105 to 115 is the spec. But they feel good. I'm happy with that. And now I'm just going to check that these are torqued correctly. 27 Newton meters. There we go. They're all tight. Everything's in place. Let me go and take the tooling out the other side, put those plates back on, and then we'll pop the covers back on. Right, final thing, get the Cambelt covers back on. Plug leads back in. All pressure switch back in. There's a little clip here for this plug. Job done, Cambelt's done. Right, let's get the air filter back in and the rest of it back on. Right, so I've given the air filter a good wash out and goes that way. And I've given the airbox a good clean. So that looks human again. Let's get these breather pipes in the back. All right, so breather pipes in. Airbox clips on. Right, airbox is back on. Cambelts are done. Quick clean up of all of this lot. Get it all looking shiny again. While we can, because we're not often here. And it's easier to get down there on top of the rear hugger and everything. So let's have a good clean up and then I'll pop all the tank back on. I don't think you guys need to see that. So I'll have a quick clean up and then I'll bring you guys back in. But where have I left my coffee? That's what I need to find out. Right, guys, very warm day, but the job is done. Cambelts, air filter clean, gave all the frame a clean up, gave it a bit of a polish underneath, cleaned all the bottom side of the tank, got it all back together. You don't need to see that. You saw me take it all apart. If you have got any questions, pop them in the comments, guys. I'm Dino, Patches Repair Shop. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, smash subscribe. It's free of charge. Drop us a comment, hit like. I'm going to pop a video here and here or here and here. I'm going to pop some videos somewhere of the Harley and the Triumph and the Yamaha WR. Click on one of those, give them a watch, guys. In the meantime, I'm going to go enjoy a cold one of these, and I'll see you guys next week.